Touch was developed through the nursing profession at New York University Hospital by Dr. Dolores Krieger and Dora Kunz, a natural healer. Therapeutic touch has been practiced for 30 years in over 80 countries and is extensively used in hospitals and healthcare settings.
What's the experience like for you having therapeutic touch?
Oh, I like it. It's lovely to relax because I worry a lot about things.
As a complementary therapy, therapeutic touch has undergone significant scientific study and research. The theory behind therapeutic touch comes from contemporary physics. That is, that the energy within the body extends beyond our skin.
What happens for you in that experience of therapeutic touch?
Oh, it's just a feeling of relaxation comes over you.
The practitioner runs their hands over the body. They are looking for areas that are different, for example, heat, coolness, or tingling.
What we're looking at doing is creating very much a life-enriching environment to continually offer people an invitation to come in and experience life, and to not only have a quality of life, but to really explore new ways of pushing the boundaries of quality of life within a residential aged care setting.
The aged care sector is gaining an impressive result with the introduction of therapeutic touch to nursing homes, hostels, and community facilities.
But one of the things that we can do is really say, well, how do we make the environment that we've got a life-enriching one? How do we rediscover our humanity and the humanity of the people and deal with people in a holistic view? To defocus the emphasis on the frailty, defocus the emphasis on the medical problems, defocus on the disabilities, and to really focus on what is possible. Now, I'm not saying that the medical stuff isn't important. What I'm saying is that good medical services and support is a given. It shouldn't be the aim, it should be accepted as a given, and we're trying to really achieve that. And where the emphasis has to be is how can the person to live a full, enriching life with relationships, with life experiences and with opportunities within that setting. And that's where therapeutic touch comes in. Because part of it is about the relationships between the individual and the staff member or volunteers and how we can change those. And what we're finding is that therapeutic touch helps the staff members be present with the person.
Therapeutic touch is used to calm and relax the body of a person who may have a physical or emotional issue, so that the body is in a position to kickstart its own self-healing. The concept of energy medicine is to maintain the body's energy in balance. This concept is the basis of Eastern-style medicine. For example, Chinese medicine or acupuncture. The basis of therapeutic touch is to restore the energy balance, therefore restoring the body to wellness.
What kind of benefits that people notice from therapeutic touch? In fact, there's been quite a lot of scientific research that's been done, and a considerable number of masters, dissertations and PhDs as well. And what they've found with therapeutic touch is it's very useful in relieving pain. It helps people who are anxious to relax. It can settle people who are dying, and that's very useful with the family because you can teach families how to give therapeutic touch, and it gives them something they can do when they feel that there's nothing else that they can do. Do you think therapeutic touch is beneficial for the residents here?
Well, I couldn't see you can do any harm, that's for sure. I think it's quite relaxing and it'd be beneficial to anyone, I should think.
Well, personally, when I first I was interested in learning it, although I was sceptical. And I think that's just a natural response, human response, that we are sceptical to things that we can't actually see.
Yeah.
So that learning experience for me, and being involved in the course and learning how to do TT, has actually probably made me realise that sometimes things that you can't see or explain not necessarily mean that they don't work.
And my word, it does make a big difference
Yeah, it does.
to your life if you
Yeah.
can do that.
Yeah.
It has to be, because I was a bundle of nerves. But you see, lots of things happened in my life. At one time, my husband was very sick and I had to look after him a lot. And then he died, and then, some awful things happened.
Yeah.
And then when I had this therapeutic and helped to relax, it made a very big difference. It really, what I really mean to say is that you're not you're in a state of not being normal for a while when you have something awful like that happening to you. But with trying to remember that you can do to help yourself, and then I said going to yoga, it made such a big difference. Yeah, I was really my own self then.
That's great.
Yes, it does make a difference.
Yeah.
Yes, I know it does. I've said that to many people.
Yeah. Well, thank you very
And
much.
they all think, well, that's a bit silly. I said, no, it isn't silly. I said, it's very good for you.
An area where residents become agitated sort of quite quickly and can't express why. The carers have found that by using therapeutic touch with the resident wherever they are on a spontaneous basis, it actually has a twofold effect. The resident relaxes and the staff have said their comments are that they feel more able to cope with the day and the situation, and it's mutually beneficial.
I think it's not only been beneficial for the residents, it has had a flow-on effect to the staff in the way that quite often in the type of job and what we do, you can sort of get quite anxious or stressed. So therefore, usually I've found that doing TT with a resident actually has the benefits of actually quietening me down and sort of getting rid of all that anxiety as well. So quite often you walk away thinking, well, you're sort of quite centred, being able to go on to the next task.
Yeah. So does that mean when you go on to the next task, you're more present with the next task or the next person?
Definitely, because sometimes I think you can actually become thinking about quite a lot of things at the same time, so therefore you may not be giving your full attention to one person. And I find that after practicing TT that you are definitely more focused on that particular resident.
Wow. One of the things that's I think therapeutic touch is so valuable is that when you are giving therapeutic touch, first of all you centre, and what that means is that you just stop what you're doing and you bring your mind just fully to the person that you're with, so that you're quietening all the everyday thoughts of things in the past or things in the future that you've got to do, and just come to the here and now, so you can give the person that full attention. And when you are with the person, what that means is that then you can just think of them as whole. So instead of thinking of somebody with pain or somebody who is suffering in some way from illness or disease, that when you're with them, that it's having an attitude of just seeing them as whole. And that does in some way become conveyed to the person in a way that can be very meaningful for them. And I think that it's really about seeing the essence of each person in a way that they feel valued, that despite whatever might not be going well for them in emotions or their body, that you know, beyond all of that and beneath all of that, that they are a whole human being. And seeing people in that way, people feel that, and so that is very much a part of the basis of the approach to giving therapeutic touch.
final stages of death, people can be very, very anxious. They're holding on to life. And that's very difficult for the family members who are there, often in the same room, watching that process. And in those occasions, they can feel quite helpless.
I suppose because she was angry, she hadn't accepted, and she was not quite sure of what was going to happen. So every time you sort of went there, she was really sort of so, hyped up. And I used to just sit very quietly with her and just give her some TT just around the shoulders and just around the head. And by the time I'd finished, she was just sort of really quite floaty and quite reasonable to deal with.
Sometimes people may initially be sceptical or have concerns from a religious basis, but when they see the benefits, especially to a family member, of less pain or the person being less distressed, then their concerns are alleviated. And invariably what I find is that people have a need. There's an individual need within people who have moved into elderly care facilities. They've lost so much. Often they've lost a spouse, they've lost their family, they've lost perhaps a favourite pet, they've lost their own environment and all of the homely things that they would have around them in their house. So there's a lot missing. And with that, I think if we can be with people and just to help meet that need in a way that for them develops a closeness of a sense of this, they have meaning to somebody else and that they are valuable for who they are regardless of whether they be sick or ill. And I think that therapeutic touch, just through that sense of becoming quiet and conveying that sense of compassion, that people pick that up and that it provides a sense of a depth where they go away not only feeling physically relaxed, but often people will say that they feel content. And I think that in this current situation that elderly people are facing, where there are many, many people all together in a facility, if we can have that individual contact with people in a way that gives them meaning, that is just so important.